Did you know that you can use Reiki in the workplace? I have talked to several friends of mine that are also Reiki practitioners and asked them about how they use the symbols. And they were not familiar with Reiki programming. They only know how to use the symbols during a session with a person, a one on one session. Now, I did see a conversation online asking a fun question about what are some things you all have used Reiki for. And there were a lot of things like their car or their an appliance or something like that. But I didn't see any comments about people using Reiki in the environment. And that is like my most favorite way to use Reiki. So I worked in the corporate world for over 30 years, and when I became a Reiki practitioner, when I was first introduced to Reiki programming, that was in the second degree level, and I started practicing. And I didn't always get the best results right away, but as I kept working on it, it became really fun. So I would have these really big meetings that I had to prepare for, and huge meetings with all the higher ups and all the rest of it. And I was very particular about the meeting materials. I was the only one who handled the materials. So I did Reiki on those reports before I handed them out. I did Reiki on the chairs, around the room. There were other tactics that I used besides Reiki, and there were only one or two people who knew that I was doing Reiki. They would comment to me afterwards that they noticed a real difference in the meeting. It was productive. People were on the same page. People were cooperative and collaborative. Now, who couldn't use a little extra help when you're in a meeting with other people, right? So, think about some creative ways to use Reiki as you're sending it out. Now, many of us were taught that you don't send Reiki to other people without their permission. And I wasn't sending Reiki to individuals, I was creating a Reiki program and creating the environment to be collaborative, for people to be on the same page. And I would send, if I needed to send energy to a particular person, I was taught that you can ask that person's higher self for permission, and say, if it's okay, can you, help this person receive this energy I'm sending. So, especially if there was a meeting where, something, not so great was going to be discussed, and blood pressure might rise and tempers flare, it's always good to have a little extra help there. Now, as far as what a Reiki program actually is, think about it as a prayer with extra emphasis. And the extra emphasis is where we use the symbols. And so, you've got the first symbol and the second symbol and the third symbol. And if you are a Reiki master and you've received the master symbol, you've got a fourth symbol. Okay, so your first symbol is about place the attention here or to power something up. And then, of course, your second symbol for communication and collaboration. And, that third symbol for distance and time. I would always set these programs up ahead of time, and I would have it start before the actual meeting time and end well after the meeting time, because, conversations continue in the hallway, right? And for extra emphasis on anything, I would use the master symbol. So, as I said, there were only, one or two people that knew that I was doing this, but I've had comments from people afterwards, and even the higher ups, sitting around. I remember after a very big meeting with one of my very large vendors, and being at the restaurant later on for dinner, the top people are sitting there, and I'd already had a glass of wine, okay? Well, they were all talking about how the meeting went so well, and they were very pleased with it, and they were also a little puzzled because there had been a really big issue and that was like the main topic of the meeting, and how things were going to be corrected going forward and not let this happen again and all the rest of it. And it could have been a very tense meeting, but it wasn't. And these execs were looking all puzzled, and me with my glass of wine, I just said, Well, looks like that voodoo I did really worked, huh? And my boss was on the other side of the table going, oh, God, I can't believe she just said that. But when I said that, the other people were like, did she do something? So, anyway, I encourage you to get creative. And if you have questions about how to create a Reiki program, drop a comment. I'll be happy to kind of coach you along with that. It's so much fun and it's really helpful. I mean, recently I was in a board meeting. Conversation got tense. A person next to me was having a conversation with somebody else that was getting tense. And I started sending energy to the situation and support to this person next to me. And later on, that person thanked me, and even later on, followed up with an email and said that they really felt my supportive energy during that meeting. I think that really helped keep the conversation calm. It could have gotten, a little bit more exciting, but it did not. So, think about this. And I knew I had permission from this person because I had sent them distance Reiki previously, for some health issues going on in their family. So that's why I, felt comfortable going ahead and sending them energy during the meeting. So never doubt that energy is real, and get creative about how to use this beautiful gift to help the environments that you're in every day.